You are listening to a special edition of the IU Report with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutzel. Today with Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader filling in for Mike for their reaction to IU's incredible 27-24 come from behind win over Penn State, only on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Welcome back, Hoosier fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special edition, a very special edition as it turns out, of the IU Report with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutzel, although Mike is not available today, unfortunately for him. And Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader will be along here in a moment. And Grant, the game just ended, and so much happened that I have no idea what we're going to forget something very important in what turned out to be perhaps the biggest win in IU history.
Maybe the biggest one up to this point. No, I know people are sitting here probably saying, man, Penn State was 3-5. For the situation Indiana was in, where Penn State controlled the game in the second half. Absolutely controlled it. Controlled it in the fourth quarter, made the plays in the fourth quarter up till there was a minute to go, and Indiana had no timeouts. Penn State had controlled that game until Indiana started chipping away at it down the field. You can look at the 3-6 now record of Penn State and, they're not very good. They lost to UCLA. Penn State still has the same athletes they had when they were number 2 in the country earlier in the year. Now, are they a top 5 team in the country? They've lost games they should not have lost, like today. They should not have lost. They made plays today when Indiana didn't, and Indiana just happened to make plays when they needed to, and that's how they won the game. But Omar Cooper's catch, the go-ahead touchdown, what turned out to be the game-winning touchdown in the back of the end zone, the play, is by far the biggest catch in program history.
Yeah, biggest catch, maybe the biggest play in program history. We'll see. As I've been saying all week, basically, Indiana could lose this game and it would change nothing. They would need the championship. They're still going to make the playoffs, win or lose this game. It's not going to be based on this game. When you take a look at how they came back and won that game, the way they've now shown you without question that they're capable of putting together a championship winning drive, the coaching staff is able to get their team in the right position, and you got the playmakers to compete with anybody in the country. And that was all kind of summed up in that one play.
And that's what championship teams do right there. They put together those kind of drives and go down and win games when the back's against their wall. And they've made so many mistakes in the game. Threw an interception early in the fourth quarter, had to let them have a big run downfield. D'Angelo Pons kind of got blocked there by the official. And people on Twitter are complaining about that. I understand how frustrating that is. If it was Indiana that broke away on the run and a kid for Penn State got blocked by the middle referee in the middle of the field, we wouldn't be here like this. It's a part of the game. And their running back was explosive. Singleton was explosive. Katron Allen was explosive. I thought their quarterback, Ethan Grunkmeyer, was really good today. He played like a freshman, but Indiana's defense did not come to play in the second half. Indiana's offense was almost a little non-existent.
It was good early in the game.
In the second half, it was a whole different ballgame. Uncle Mo was on the side of Penn State, and Indiana had to come back there at the end. Not having Elijah Surratt today certainly showed. Getting blocks downfield, having it open up.
But they don't win that game without his replacement either, who had an amazing game.
I was about to say, Charlie Becker, Greg, unbelievable. What a game he had. What a finish he had there. He's probably going to get the game ball in the locker room. And now this is a guy that was probably a little overlooked coming out of high school and getting recruited. Now was kind of the unsung hero there. I know Omar Cooper made the catch of the end zone, but Charlie Becker was the unsung hero that made the plays downfield late in the game and really the entire game to set them up for, a couple touchdowns and got the play downfield to set them up for the score that ended up winning the game. So Charlie Becker's got to be the player of the game. Fernando Mendoza looked shaky until the last drive, put together probably his best drive of the season.
Yeah, and that was definitely his worst performance of the season overall until that drive. But man, he has to have so much confidence knowing every single one of his receivers will make a play. Every single one. He might have,
with that last throw, Greg, he might have just won the Heisman. I think about that. I was expecting more of a game from Cooper like last week against Maryland. I was kind of expecting him to pick up where he left off. I honestly was not expecting Charlie Becker. I was thinking maybe a little E.J. Williams was going to get some action. Of course, Riley Nowakowski in there. He's their main receiving tight end. Great tight end, by the way. Becker, again, the unsung hero, which is kind of why Penn State, I think, was thrown off a little bit because it was a guy that never really makes plays, was able to make big catches in big moments. Penn State never really, I think, keyed in on him on the scouting report a little bit. He was just like, hey, he's going to be out here. May throw it to him a couple times, got to know where he's at. But he made the plays when he needed to make them. That's why Indiana won.
Grant, let's continue the conversation before Michelle gets here. 10-0 for the second time in program history with two very winnable games ahead. And it sure looks like the matchup with Ohio State, who's now I think up 41-3 on Purdue, something like that. Seems inevitable.
Absolutely it does. And so that's exciting. The fact that Indiana has two games here that they can win when you look at Purdue and Wisconsin on the schedule in years past, and those are games that you think you can win on your way to just 6. You're just trying to be bowl eligible. And now those are two games that you can win to get to 12 total wins on the season, Greg. How about that? That goes to show the changing and the culture of Indiana football.
It's unreal what's happened in the past 24 months for Indiana football. Just unbelievable. And today, as we welcome in Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader, we saw probably Michelle goes back further than we do with IU football. So let's get her opinion. That has to be the biggest play in IU football history, right, Michelle?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was sensational. I will tell you this: in the past, before pre-Cignetti, Indiana probably does not win that game. After the way things kind of went in the second half. But it's amazing. There are some positives. Great positive is IU faced adversity, found a way to win, had to come from behind. Winning is a positive, especially they're still atop the Big Ten standings. Look to be headed to the Big Ten championship game, which is just unbelievable to me. The other positives are they're going to get to see a lot of mistakes on film. So they're at this stage of the season, they're going to be able to start finding those mistakes because there are things they're going to have corrected. You want next week and the week after, but they have to be corrected by the Big Ten championship game because it won't matter. It looks like it will probably be Ohio State, but if it wasn't Ohio State, even if it's Oregon again or Iowa again or someone else, it'll be a team good enough to take advantage of some of the little mistakes that IU showed on film today. So I guess to me, that's a good positive. I don't think either one of our coordinators had their best day. I don't think it was their worst, but I don't believe it was their best day, especially in terms of adjustments during the game from half to half.
I would agree with you there. Again, you're kind of put in a weird situation where even though Penn State has been what it is this year, it's still Penn State. It's still the program that it was last year.
Bunch of 5-star recruits, and yeah, no doubt. You can ignore the record. They are a talented team.
They are the best 3-6 team in the country. And guys, here's the thing with Penn State is that Penn State, looking at the rest of their schedule, they're sitting at 3-6, where they had that really tough stretch there where they lost at Iowa after James Franklin was fired. Then they had the bye week. Then they went on the road against Ohio State. So they haven't played at home since October 11th, almost a month ago. That was the last game of James Franklin's tenure. And they fall to 3-6 today with the loss to IU. But look at the next 3 games they play here. These are all winnable games. Michigan State on the road next week in East Lansing. At home against Nebraska, which could be tough. Probably one of their toughest games. And then they go on the road to Rutgers on the 29th of November. These are 3 winnable games for this program, and today was a good start for them. They're kind of trending in the right direction after Ohio State. They played Ohio State particularly a little tough in the first half last week. Played Indiana really tough until the last minute of the game today. And if they can carry some of that momentum, they're probably deflated right now. Let's be real. I mean, the feeling that they have in their locker room and amongst their program pretty much sums up the entire season for them. Like, this game literally summed up their entire season. Getting off to the good start, controlling, having control, feeling great, and then you just kind of crap the bed at the end. But this is a team that, if they stay steady here and win these next 3 games, I think they're going to be bowl eligible at 6-6. They won't have a great bowl game. I like that Penn State team. I think they're good. I like their interim head coach, and they should have won the game today. But Indiana was more deserving there towards the end.
All right, Grant, we mentioned some of the offensive stars: Charlie Becker, Fernando Mendoza, Omar Cooper. Roman Hemby had a pretty good day as well. Aiden Fisher was great again. Who else played well?
The one name you left out, I feel like, was Kalon Black. Just a tough runner today. He had that one play where he had 4 or 5 Navy jerseys around him, just pulling at him and tugging at him, and he got kind of the push from Khalil Benson to give him a first down. He was by far, I think, their most impressive running back. Hemby had an okay day on the ground. Was not his best game. I feel like they've shut him down. I feel like last week Maryland had him kind of keyed in a little. I feel like Maryland had him kind of wrapped up a little bit last week, and Penn State kind of had that same thing going for him. Fact of the matter is, we can talk about what happened in the first 59 minutes all we want, but at the end of the day, what ended up being the most important was the final minute and 17, or how long it was when they got the ball back. I actually felt pretty good when they got the ball back with under a minute and a half to go. I know they're out of timeouts, but we've seen this team all year, especially at the end of the half, at the end of the first half. They did it today. They did it against Iowa. They did it against Oregon. Kind of put together a little bit of a drive to go down and get them in field goal range or score a touchdown. And they did that today in the first half. So I felt a little good, kind of good, even though Penn State had the momentum of getting the ball back and having 80, 85 yards, 75 yards to go the whole length of the field and try and get a score, because they had to have a touchdown. And that's a promising sign. Again, we said it. That's what championship football teams do, Michelle. They put together those end-of-game drives, no matter the opponent, when their back's against the wall, to go out and win these games.
You're exactly right, Grant. I mean, great teams find ways to win even on their bad days, and that is what Indiana did today. It was fantastic. I will say this: I'm going to give their defensive front credit and their linebackers, because they kind of brought a lot of extra pressure or kind of blitzes off the end, and you could tell Khalil Benson, what a dog, but he's banged up right now, and he's hard to get out there on those, shift off those guys. But that line came up huge when they needed to on critical plays. And you're right, Black, Hemby, and then defensively, Greg, you asked Grant. I'm going to step in for you, Grant, then you can add on to this. I thought, yes, Aiden Fisher was fantastic. I thought D'Angelo Pons was fantastic. He kept that secondary from being a little bit more exploited than what it was. Tucker had a couple big plays. Bones Jones is just, he's like Aiden Fisher. He's just got a great nose for the football as a linebacker. I thought their secondary, especially the opposite corner, kind of got burnt a little bit, but D'Angelo Pons he's such a difference maker. And he's a great tackler in the open field.
Final thoughts.
Indiana has so many great players on both sides of the football. Kind of like Michelle was saying there a second ago, where Isaiah Bones Jones is just like Aiden Fisher. I think what's awesome about IU is that they have Aiden Fisher, and many teams in the country would beg, they would die to have an Aiden Fisher caliber player. And Indiana's got two of them. Indiana's got two Aiden Fishers, which is insane. We had the fumble recovery there earlier in the game, had the interception to begin the second half. When he had the interception to begin the second half, as a fan, kind of felt a little like you could relax just a hair. Okay, they got all the momentum. Now they got to go down and score a touchdown. I remember saying to myself, got to come down here and go for the jugular. They're up 17-7 when they got the ball back in the second half, as Dante Moore for Oregon just threw an interception in the end zone. Indiana's just so talented on both sides of the ball, which is just incredible. Not many teams have this kind of talent on both sides of the ball, except maybe in Ohio State. That's how great this football team is. Indiana has the clear path to an undefeated regular season, which I don't know what they'll do in the Big Ten Championship if they get there against Ohio State. I don't know what they'll do in the playoff. Right now, Indiana is 10-0 for the second time in program history, and it comes in back-to-back years. And they had to win these grinded-out battle games to get to 10-0. If you remember the Michigan game last year, it was a grinded-out battle game there towards the end, and they won by 5. Then they had the unbelievable comeback there at the end of the day, there at the end of the game today, and they won by 3. Indiana finds ways to win these type of games. It's what championship teams do, and I haven't seen a team in college football all year do what they've done. Not even Ohio State.
Grant, Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We'll talk IU football again very soon. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.